Comment down below where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe if you hate Karen. Saturday on Willow Creek Lane should have been routine for Reggie Johnson, a 42-year-old software engineer. Dressed in a sweat-stained t-shirt and thorn-scarred jeans, he battled the rosebushes his wife Dolores insisted would brighten the curb appeal. Sun beat down, thorns bit his forearms, yet the street remained its usual suburban hush. Until a white SUV screeched straight into his driveway, tires spitting gravel. Reggie straightened, pruning shears in hand, as the driver's door swung open. Out stepped Brenda McMillan, designer sunglasses, flawless manicure, and an aura of entitlement thick as Georgia humidity, the living stereotype of a Karen. Without so much as a greeting she scanned the property, then fixed him with a syrup-sweet smile. "Excuse me," she chirped, "are you the groundskeeper?" Reggie blinked. Thorns, sweat, faded clothes, sure, he looked like hired help, but this was his house, his mortgage, his aching back. "Nope," he replied, emphasizing the pop of the P, "I'm the homeowner, Reginald Johnson. Can I help you?" Brenda hesitated, momentarily rattled. Brenda. I'm meeting the Millers at 1422. She pointed across the street, then beamed. "Your driveway is perfect for my SUV while I wait." Reggie's blood pressure ticked upward. A stranger had just commandeered his property. And the collision of entitlement and thorns was only beginning. Reggie pinched the bridge of his nose. The day's heat, the thorn scratches, and now a surprise valet service for Brenda McMillan's filthy SUV, it was too much caffeine for his blood pressure. "Brenda," he began politely, "this is my private driveway. Please park on the street in front of the Millers if you're waiting." Brenda waved a dismissive hand, pupils hidden behind oversized lenses. "It's only temporary. Besides," she flashed an ingratiating smile, "while I'm here, could you give my SUV a quick wash? Road trip grime, you know. I'll compensate you." Reggie stared, pruning shears frozen midair. "Compensate me? I'm a software engineer, not a detail shop." "But you're already doing yard work," she insisted, voice syrupy. "A quick rinse would be neighborly." Neighborly. As if commandeering someone's property, misidentifying the homeowner, and assigning chores were hallmarks of suburban friendliness. Reggie inhaled, counting to 3. "No. Move your car." The smile evaporated. Brenda's face hardened into Karen granite. "I'm disappointed in your attitude," she snapped. "You people should be helpful." The phrase detonated inside Reggie's chest. Voice low and precise, he replied, "You have 3 options: move the SUV yourself, wait politely on public curb, or I call the police for trespass." Brenda's nostrils flared. "Call them?" "I'll call first." She whipped out her phone, thumb hovering. "I'll tell them a large, aggressive man threatened me." Reggie produced his own phone and pressed record. "Feel free. I like receipts." Brenda blinked at the glowing red uncertainty flickering. For a heartbeat, rosebush scratches stung less than the thick silence. Then she dialed. "Yes, dispatcher. I'm being harassed." Reggie lifted the phone higher, capturing her SUV in his driveway, her unblemished self yards from safety. Mid-call she noticed, her cheeks flamed. She retreated to the driver's seat, phone still pressed to ear, engine revving. Reggie spoke calmly for the recording. "Brenda McMillan has unlawfully parked in my driveway and refuses to leave unless I wash her car." Whether the dispatcher heard or common sense prevailed, Brenda slammed the gear into reverse. Tires squealed, she backed into the street and sped toward 1422 without apology. Reggie ended the recording and exhaled. Thorny branches rustled in the returning quiet, but serenity felt shaky, as if the roses themselves braced for another SUV. He headed inside for antiseptic and a glass of iced tea, wondering how long it would take for the HOA, or worse, to echo Brenda's version of events. Something told him this wasn't the last he'd hear of Karen Justice on Willow Creek Lane. Sunday morning arrived with homemade waffles and Dolores's side eye. "So that's the woman who thought you were a lawn service?" she asked, scrolling the neighborhood Facebook page. Overnight, Brenda had posted, "Scary encounter with hostile man, be vigilant." Commenters ranged from sympathetic to skeptical. Reggie sighed. "I have video. If gossip flares, I'll post facts." Dolores squeezed his hand. "Let's garden and ignore her." Easier said than done. At noon, the doorbell rang. On the porch stood Mrs. Abernathy, HOA president, clipboard clutched like a church hymnal. Her perm trembled with self-importance. "Mr. Johnson," she began, glancing at Rose clippings, "I'm investigating a complaint about a disturbance involving wash services." Reggie bit back a laugh. Brenda wasted no time. "Come in," he said, retrieving his phone. They sat at the kitchen island. Dolores poured lemonade. Reggie played the video: Brenda's arrival, groundskeeper assumption, driveway commandeer, and veiled racial dig. Mrs. Abernathy's lips thinned. "Oh my," she murmured. "I trust that resolves the disturbance question," Reggie stated. Mrs. Abernathy nodded reluctantly. "Yes, but neighbors expect decorum. Couldn't you have been more accommodating?" Dolores nearly choked on lemonade. Reggie kept cool. "Accommodating a stranger's trespass. The bylaws protect property rights, correct?" He flipped to the exact clause on his phone's PDF copy. Mrs. Abernathy adjusted her glasses. "Indeed. Thank you for clarifying." She rose to leave, clipboard suddenly heavier. An hour later, a direct message pinged. Officer Davis, a friend from church who worked local patrol, had heard Brenda filed an informal statement alleging intimidation. Officer Davis viewed Reggie's footage and replied, "Video clears you. Stay alert, she likes drama." By dusk, Brenda's post vanished. But the HOA grapevine buzzed, some sided with her, others with Reggie. The incident became a Rorschach test for bias. That night, Reggie uploaded a blurred face snippet to his private cloud with the caption, "Evidence, do not delete." He slept lightly, adrenaline still prowling. Willow Creek's veneer of calm had cracked, revealing fault lines of entitlement and coded prejudice. Reggie suspected the next quake was already rumbling. Tuesday delivered the quake. Reggie returned from his home office lunch break to find a bright yellow HOA violation notice taped to his mailbox: unseemly conduct. Failure to maintain neighborhood harmony. Fine, $250. He exhaled a humorless laugh. So Mrs. Abernathy hadn't learned after all. Dolores urged restraint, but Reggie's inner engineer preferred systematic rebuttal. Drafting the counterstrike he compiled, Brenda's trespass video, with time stamp. Audio of her insinuating, "You people." Georgia code on filing false police reports. HOA bylaws highlighting property rights. Character references from Officer Davis and two neighbors who'd witnessed the SUV departure. He assembled a letter, crisp but fiery, demanding rescission of the fine and an apology at the next HOA meeting. Certified mail went out before sunset. HOA fallout Friday night, the clubhouse overflowed. Residents curious about the drama-packed folding chairs. Mrs. Abernathy, perspiring, opened with the agenda item, Johnson violation appeal. Reggie spoke first, projecting the video onto the pull-down screen. Gasps echoed when Brenda's voice said, "You people." Brenda herself was absent, rumor said she'd gone to Hilton Head to de-stress. Reggie concluded, "I won't pay for defending my own property." But surprises followed. 3 homeowners, Mrs. Patel, Mr. Nguyen, and Ms. Santiago, shared microaggressions Brenda had lobbed at them. A pattern emerged of Brenda weaponizing HOA rules against anyone she deemed other. When the testimonies ended, a motion arose to remove Mrs. Abernathy as president for bias and mishandling complaints. Ballots were cast, the landslide, 47 yes, 5 no. Mrs. Abernathy resigned on the spot. Candace Longfellow, vice president and voice of reason, assumed the gavel and rescinded Reggie's fine. Brenda's return 2 weeks later. Brenda's white SUV crept down Willow Creek, but no driveway welcomed it. Candace had issued a neighborhood-wide parking memo. Driveways are private property. Brenda parked at the curb, eyes shifting nervously. Signs of her unraveling life followed, movers carting boxes, Robert's telltale absent car, Sparky gone. Word spread, Robert filed for divorce, citing public embarrassment and irreconcilable entitlement. Brenda's final blow came via email blast. Yelp links surfaced showing her berating baristas and waitstaff across Atlanta. The community's patience plummeted below zero. Quiet victory. Reggie tended roses one morning when Brenda approached, sunglasses failing to hide swollen eyes. "I came to apologize," she said, voice hoarse. "My behavior was inexcusable." Reggie laid down his shears. "Apology accepted. Change takes work." She nodded, clutching a pamphlet titled Anger Management and Bias Awareness. "I'm starting." He wished her luck. She shuffled away, shoulders smaller. That evening, Reggie and Dolores clinked iced tea glasses on the porch. Moonlight touched the freshly pruned roses. The driveway sat empty, no SUVs, no drama, just the hum of crickets and the quiet confidence of boundaries defended. With Brenda's saga ricocheting across social media, Reggie fielded interview requests. He declined until WXGA 11 offered a segment on everyday civility. Dolores teased, "Think of the new rose varieties you could buy with the appearance fee." Reggie agreed. The interview aired Thursday night. Clip of the driveway confrontation, Brenda's face blurred. Reggie explaining the importance of recording incidents and knowing property rights. A cameo from Officer Davis affirming de-escalation and honesty. Viewers flooded Twitter with praise, local Reddit tagged Reggie, Atlanta's HOA whisperer. Brenda's name trended for all the wrong reasons. Unexpected allies messages poured in from other neighborhoods dealing with rogue HOAs. Reggie organized a Zoom forum on dispute documentation, featuring a real estate attorney, a city mediator, and Officer Davis. Over 300 participants logged on. The lawsuit rumor. One morning, Candace forwarded an email, Brenda vs. Willow Creek HOA, a potential defamation claim. Reggie's stomach dipped. Lawsuits meant time, money, stress. But Candace's lawyer cousin replied, "No merit, public interest, truth is defense." Days later the rumor fizzled. Brenda lacked funds and face. Healing the street. Candace proposed a driveway social. Each family sets up tables at the foot of their driveway, sharing snacks, stories, cultures. On event night, music floated, salsa, Motown, K-pop. Reggie demoed a VR headset for kids. Elderly Mr. Jenkins taught dominoes. Brenda did not attend. Her house lights stayed off. Closure. A realtor sign popped up at 1420 Willow Creek. One evening, Reggie found Brenda placing potted hydrangeas by the curb, free for anyone. "For the neighbors," she said softly. "I'm moving closer to family." Reggie lifted a pot. "Hydrangeas need shade. Plant them under that maple," she advised, her voice the gentlest he'd heard. They exchanged a brief handshake, an unlikely ceasefire as moving trucks idled. Months later, new neighbors, the Garcias, with twin toddlers, bought Brenda's home. Their first welcome gift. A rose cutting from Reggie's yard, rooting in a mason jar. Willow Creek had weathered its storm. The roses, once thorny symbols of conflict, now framed a story of boundaries asserted, bias exposed, and community rebuilt. Spring returned, and with it Reggie's driveway now hosted nothing but chalk hopscotch and toddler tricycles. The Garcias twins squealed while Dolores supervised, coffee in hand. HOA reforms under Candace's leadership, bylaws were overhauled, bodycam standard, all HOA board interactions must allow residents to record. Grace period clause. First infractions get warnings, not fines. Bias training, mandatory annual workshop with City DEI office. Reggie served as tech advisor, creating an online portal for transparent violation tracking, no more secret complaint files. The conference the city invited Reggie to present at a suburban issues conference, De-escalation and documentation, lessons from Willow Creek. He spoke alongside Officer Davis. Brenda's case became a teaching slide. Applause filled the hall. Personal milestone. Dolores surprised Reggie with a sapling rose cultivar named Second Chance. They planted it near the mailbox where the yellow violation once hung. Neighbors gathered, shovels ready. Maria Rodriguez brought homemade empanadas, Mr. Nguyen brewed Vietnamese iced coffee. As soil covered the roots, Maria quipped, "Here's to growth, literal and metaphorical." Reggie smiled, thinking, sometimes the best code he ever wrote wasn't in an IDE. It was the unwritten logic that neighbors deserve dignity. One humid July afternoon, Reggie received an unfamiliar phone number. Brenda's voice, cautious yet steady, greeted him. "I completed the anger management program," she said. "Part of the course is making amends. May I visit?" Dolores raised an eyebrow but agreed. Brenda arrived, clutching a small package. She looked different, casual ponytail, no designer bag, humility in her posture. "I brought these," she said, handing over heirloom tomato seedlings. "Your roses inspired me to try gardening." They chatted beneath the porch fan. Brenda recounted learning to separate assertion from aggression, how false narratives endangered others, how she volunteered at a local shelter washing real cars for charity. Reggie listened, measuring sincerity. "Growth is a marathon, not a sprint," he offered. Before leaving, Brenda eyed the Second Chance rose. Fitting name. She lingered, then said, "Thank you for boundaries, and for recording. Hard truths saved me from worse." As she drove away, parking legally this time, Dolores joined Reggie, shoulders touching. "That felt healing," she whispered. "Yeah," Reggie replied, watching the rose's first bud swell. "Not every story ends with lawsuits. Some end with seedlings." A year to the day after the driveway incident, WXGA 11 aired a follow-up titled, From Confrontation to Collaboration. Willow Creek 1 year later. Cameras showed, kids drawing inclusive murals on sidewalks, HOA approved. The Garcias twins picking hydrangeas from Brenda's gifted shrubs. Candace explaining the transparent violation portal. The anchor interviewed Reggie beside fully bloomed roses. "What's the biggest lesson?" she asked. "That civility isn't passive," he said. "It's actively protecting each other's dignity." Viewers praised the segment. City Council drafted an ordinance encouraging HOAs to adopt Willow Creek protocols. Quiet celebration that evening, Dolores lit citronella candles on the driveway. Neighbors gathered for an anniversary potluck. Plates overflowed, laughter buzzed. Officer Davis dropped by off-duty, toasting with lemonade. "No calls from Willow Creek in months," she laughed. At twilight, Reggie unveiled a small plaque by the Second Chance rose, "May every boundary defended blossom into respect shared." Willow Creek neighbors, year XYZ applause rose, fireflies flickered. Music floated, an eclectic mix reflecting every household. Under the warm Georgia night, the once thorny lane thrummed with newfound harmony. Reggie leaned against the mailbox, arm around Dolores. No screeching tires, no frantic doorbells, just the hum of crickets and distant kids' laughter. Sometimes, he mused, heroism looks like refusing to wash a stranger's SUV, and planting a rose in the aftermath.